I love it. Ashley, I saw your hands.
Yeah, I wanted to piggyback. I appreciate what Ms. Ann said as well about, and Ms. Diane about our business, because it's very strategic with the customer experience. And I deal mostly with the front of the house of our staff, and we are going through some growing pains, and sometimes I have to reiterate to people what needs to be done, because the experience is very important. But it's strategic because in a world where I feel like people move so fast and we're not having that same experience as grandmama, mama, we don't have that home thing going on. We don't sit down together and eat anymore. We're on our cell phones. We're in each other's bedroom eating. We're not at the table anymore. It's very strategic with why we know people's names, why we answer the phone the way we do, how we greet people, that whole thing, why there's cookie jars in the bakery, why there's different sayings the way they are, why our dishes are mixed-matched the way they are, why the things are the way they are, is on purpose, because we want people to have that experience as if they are at home. And a lot of people support us not because our food is good, yes, but because they feel like they're a part of the family. Yes. They've grown up with us. They've watched my mom in the back of the window cooking for many years, and it's like they feel like they're part of it. So they come out like, Mr. Franca, where you been? And he's like, oh, you know, I've been X, Y, and Z. Or so it's all about noticing people, and they know that. It's noticing people, recognizing them, remember what they ordered. It's all, people want to feel like they're a part of something. And family is so displaced right now for several different reasons. People just want to be a part of something. So it's very strategic, that experience, that they feel like they're a part of our business.
How many people agree with what Espy just said? Okay. That's so important. I love that. Yes, ma'am.
I am new to Detroit. Came from San Francisco, Oakland, California, especially, and I've done pop-ups there. And the first pop-up I ever went to and I got involved in, I walked into this person's basement apartment, and the tables were made out of crates. They were sitting on pillows on the ground. And I was a little nervous because I didn't know what I was in for, but it was the most amazing meal I ever had, because we're all at the same level. I think that's what I really love, is that I met people that lived right around the corner from me, that had acquaintances of mine, and that I wouldn't have met if I hadn't gone and, like, you know, gone out of my comfort zone and gone to this experience. So I got involved, and I think a comment on, like, what you talk about creating experience. Whenever we do our pop-ups, we always say the first rule, number one, is to give thanks. We have everybody, you know, give thanks, because, you know, the way that our pop-up grew was that everybody started donating things. Like, our tables for a while were made out of closet doors. We attached table legs to them, and we had people, you know, bring their own pillows to the dinners. You know, so that, again, I would experience that. Later on, of course, we started having tables and chairs because people wanted those. But it was all about donations, and like we bringing in people that were making jam, incorporating that into our, you know, into our meals, or people that make kombucha, serving that.
Yeah, you build up to it. Like, you start off with what you have, right? And you work with it, and you also realize you have to stop and think about, okay, who are my resources? What is my support? Who do I know that can really be helpful? Who's the wealth of knowledge? Who has the, you know, extra time to, like, be the muscle with, you know? So you have to really, and then it's like, okay, well, this isn't a perfect table, but if you're setting this stage in the right way, right? If you're setting everything up in the right way, in a way that's accessible for people to really engage with it and feel that intimacy that we're talking about creating, then people will love that it's made out of that, because it feels that much more authentic, and it feels that much more personal. And I think that's one thing that we lose a lot, especially in these, like, really big restaurants, is we lose that sense of, like, personability. So when you're saying, okay, my staff makes my food, they eat my food, we all share it together, so they can talk about it in a way that's not like, oh wait, what's in that? Like, what is it? Wait, what? Tamari? Like, you know, it's like they're engaging with it in a way where they can really be true ambassadors for it, because they're actually experiencing it, right? They're a part of the process as well. So it's about, like, bringing everybody into that process.
I love that. Mako, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much. Oh, somebody else has something. I'm sorry. Who else?
I was just wondering, the people that do pop-ups, are they caterers? Are they caterers?
Say that one more question.
Was it good pop-ups? Are they catered?
Oh, are they catered pop-ups?
Yeah, are they caterers?
Caterers. Well, yeah, Mako's a caterer. Yeah, sure. Yep. Yep, they are caterers as well. Very good question. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah. So, Mako, thank you so much. So we're going to continue on. now we're gonna get into some nitty gritty, some technicalities. Jake, Dorothy, did Nick come in?
Yeah, my name.
Where's Nick? No, there you go, Nick come in. Great. Jake and Dorothy and Nick, if you all can come up. And yes, these are chefs and caterers. Yes, ma'am. And so we've talked a little bit about, visioning. We've talked about how important it is for you to set the tone and make sure it's an experience. What do you actually do when you now need to find a location? You need to make sure that this kitchen is going to work for you. What happens now that you need to now start executing and making it happen? You've got this vision. You're all fired up. You've got this dream. Now, as they say, the proof is in the pudding. Okay. Dorothy, Jake, and Nick, experienced chefs, pop-ups. Introduce yourselves to the audience and then walk us through how you all get prepared for doing pop-ups.
Hi, I'm Dorothy. I'm one half of Sarab. We specialize in Filipino-inspired food. And I say inspired because for me, the inspiration is my mom. And I can never cook the way she does because she's holding out on me when I ask her how to make adobo. And I'm like, I know you're not telling me everything. So we made our own version of adobo and our own version of Filipino food. Am I supposed to explain what we do? Or?
Well, let's put them all here.
My name's Jake Williams. I'm the other half of Sarab. I went to culinary school. I've done lots and lots of catering. I've worked in every single type of food service you can possibly imagine, except for a cruise ship. I currently work at Gleaners Community Food Bank and teach families how to cook and about nutrition. Before that, I used to travel around North America and Europe and feed race car drivers. So I've done just about every single type of catering experience you can imagine. So including, say, I arrive at the place and they told me there was a kitchen, and really it's just a sink this big. So planning is everything. So.
I'm not sure I need to be up here. Sorry, I'm Nick. I run Dr. Sushi. It's a Japanese-inspired, I'll say, because I was never trained in Japanese food. It was all passion from high school age. I did work at a place, Noble Fish, for about a year, and then they taught me a lot of prep work and stuff like that. And then after that, it was all just self-driven, and I started doing catering and pop-ups about 3 or 4 years ago. And then I kind of work as a private chef for a lot of people's parties, stuff like that. Yeah, that's kind of the gist of Dr. Sushi. Also a lot of cooking classes.
So Jake, you talked about sometimes you walk into a space and they say you have a kitchen and it's only a sink. Can you guys talk a little bit about how you get prepared to actually go find the space, and then what you look for as you are in that space in terms of what the kitchen looks like, equipment is needed? What are some of the things on your to-do list that you do?
Yeah, so after that happened early on in my catering career, I made sure to make an actual site visit instead of rely on what someone considers a kitchen, which is apparently a drinking fountain and a sink that I can't even fit one of my pans into. So, you know, before Dorothy and I commit, we go and we do a site visit. Hopefully this is as far out as possible. It's probably the biggest thing. So, because your vision of a stove and my vision of a stove, everybody in this room's got something different. So when I show up and I think of a stove which has 6 to 12 burners, it's gas, and I get there and it's electric, and it's got 2 burners that work even though there's 4 on top. That's not my same vision of a stove, right? So doing a site visit is probably the most necessary thing. And then also, like, besides doing that, like making sure that the place that you're doing the pop-up can handle the amount of electricity is another thing. So like actually going there and plugging all your equipment in at the same time and running it, right? Because Detroit's like electrical systems are a little old than some of the newer ones, right? So making sure the building can handle like 220 plugs, or your rice cooker, or an electric fryer, or stuff like that is really, really important. And if it can't, then you can make adjustments and so forth like that. But, you know, running through all of your equipment and maybe even doing like a dry run there, so to speak, or a test run of going and turning stuff on. You know, like Dorothy and I have a whole list of things that we do, like If you're using someone else's oven and the temperature gauge says, or the temperature says 350, actually putting something in there that can gauge that temperature, because the last thing you want to do is have like 40 or 50 people and then you burn up all your stuff because the actual oven's running 45 degrees hotter than it's supposed to. Or, you know, I think those are the big first step things if you're going to actually pop up at a new location. So.
And so, Jake, you mentioned popping up at a new location. I want to have Nick jump into this conversation because, Nick, I'm most familiar with your pop-up at St. Cece's, which is an existing restaurant. And how did that relationship develop? And how is it that you have the opportunity to pop up at a place that's already a restaurant? How does that work?
So that's a good question. The first one we did there was, I think, fall 2012. I was, for maybe 5 or 6 months, I was sort of selling sushi to my friends on Wednesdays, and it was not exactly legal, but that's okay. I'll talk about that at another day.
So you had a private event?
I was having a private event every Wednesday. And it got big. My neighbors from across the street would come and get sushi every Wednesday. One of my neighbors worked at the Park Bar, and the Bellingers own both the Park Bar and St. Cece's. So somehow my sushi made its way into the Bellingers' mouths, and they loved it. So they came to me with the idea, you know, we've been toying with this idea of having a guest chef once in a while. And then I kind of worked with them on developing this Takeover Tuesdays idea where they give their kitchen crew the night off once a week. So every Tuesday there's a new guest chef or crew in the St. Cece's kitchen. And they've been doing it every Tuesday for almost 3 years now. And we kind of got grandfathered in, so we get the last Tuesday of every month. Sorry, everyone, but it's a really great spot because it is a commercially licensed kitchen. They have a nice griddle. They have a good range, a good deep fryer, lots of counter space, and they clear out their coolers for us. So I really learned how to do pop-ups at St. Cece's. I only did one pop-up in a place that wasn't St. Cece's before then. And that was just at a friend's loft, another private event sort of thing. But I will say, in relation to site-specific pop-ups and going to new places, because I do pop-ups elsewhere, like Great Lakes Culinary Center. I also do one at Yemen Street. I see Matt over there. Always do that site visit. I won't plan a menu unless I know what's in the kitchen, what I have to work with. If there's no deep fryer, tempura's out. I'm not doing that. You know, maybe they, even when it comes down to, like, okay, St. Cece's only has about 20 bowls. So I'm only doing one dish that can go in a bowl. You know, all these things you have to take into account. You can never have too much detail. Yeah, and like you said with the ranges, we've done pop-ups places where it's like 2 electric burners, and then my menu was kind of like, oh, what am I gonna do? And you have to improvise. But that location visit is extremely important. Just maybe take some pictures of the kitchen so you know what you're working with. You might forget. I have a terrible memory, so I write everything down. I write all, you know, what's the fridge like? What's the freezer like? How much counter space do I have? And what am I cooking with here? So all these things are great for, you gotta consider all these things.